We're Hasani and Danielle Pettiford, and we're a real couple with real problems who almost called it quits.
I was very frustrated. I became very disconnected, very jaded and cold.
We have 4 children, going on 20 years of marriage, and we practice what we preach.
Our mission, to change the way couples relate to one another and teach them the skills needed to improve the quality of their relationships. This is the Couples Academy Show.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Couples Academy Show. My name is Hasani.
And my name is Roland.
And we're here this morning continuing in a series that we've begun. Having an affair with your spouse. That's right. I know it's a controversial title, but I think those who've been tuning in have gotten the gist of what's necessary and why we are doing this. We're trying to reestablish connection, trying to get that love back, trying to inject the passion back in your partnership so that you can have a life that you never thought was imaginable. And so from day 1 to day 2 to now day 3, we're giving you techniques and tips that will help take your relationship to the next level. So listen, guys, wherever you're tuning in from, city, state, country, wherever you are around the world, we want to know who you are so that we can acknowledge you. A couple announcements before we get started. This is September, as you know. No. Yeah, September, right. We got 2 more days, right? End of September. Next is October. And as you know, the second weekend of October is always the last chance weekend. And I wanted to come up with a testimonial that I thought would be powerful this morning. I wanted to go in a different way. There was a powerful couple a couple months ago that came to a last chance weekend. And sometimes we want to know, well, what is the real impact? What's the real impact that comes? Like, if I come, am I taking a gamble? Am I taking a chance? This particular couple, they were not married because, we have a percentage of couples who come who are not married. Remember, we are Couples Academy, not Marriage Academy. And oftentimes people who are married who come say, man, I wish I had known. I wish I had done. I wish we knew about this experience prior to. It would have saved us. Well, this particular couple, obviously all couples come because they face some type of challenges, but they wanted to get things right before stepping into I do. And so as a result of that, they were able to experience transformation. And this is the result of that weekend in their lives. Check this out. Isn't that just like, when you see that, you're just like, man, the levels, you know what I'm saying?
That was so cool, man. And it was so smooth. And you can feel the love through the video, that they were genuinely in love and renewed friendship and relationship. That was pretty cool, man.
All they needed was the right foundation and some realignment and some healing in some particular areas. And I tell you, Joe and Mindy, they're a phenomenal couple doing big things. I mean, big things. They're not only is their love big for each other, but they're going to make a big impact on this world, an indelible mark that cannot be erased. And that's the whole thing. Like, many people come from a place of pain and they eradicate the pain in that process and then begin to experience the pleasure and then tap into the power of their partnership. And that's what we have for you. Our goal is not to save your marriage. It's a low level goal. We're not interested in it because there's many people who are still married and still miserable. So if saving the marriage was the goal, go, then you should find somebody else to go to. But there's life beyond I do. Like once you've restored the relationship and you're still together, what's next? We're here for the what's next. And that's what Couples Academy is all about. And so listen, guys, we're talking about how to have an affair with your spouse. Let's dive deep into these points. I think we've been unpacking them for the last 2 days, so we want to continue in that conversation. Let's go to the next one. It says, make a list of 5 things you love about your partner and leave it for them. Now, let's just pause on for a second. You may say, oh, okay, that's nice, cute, no big deal. But you have to understand, when you started dating your spouse, you were very flowery with your words. You were very liberal with your words. You would tell your partner how beautiful they are, or how handsome they are, or how strong they are, or how intelligent they are. You would literally fill their cup up to the point where they were overflowing. We call this a verbal buffet. A verbal buffet is when you take the time to, it's like you go to a regular buffet, there's food everywhere. Every option, every choice, from appetizer all the way to dessert, drinks, meats, pastas, salad, just everything. It's overwhelming. When a betrayal has happened or any type of crisis has happened in your relationship, it has created such a deficit, such a hole, that one compliment or one nice gesture is not enough. You have to overcompensate to fill up the hole that has been created. And one of the ways that you do it is by speaking life into your partner, by affirming, by congratulating, by encouraging, by complimenting, by uplifting. And so this particular gesture of making a list of 5 things that you love about your partner and leaving it for them. Like, here's another great idea. Why don't you take your spouse's name, whatever their name may be, however many letters it may be, and each letter represent a personality trait or characteristic that you want to, articulate about how awesome they are. What a great idea, a creative idea. It gives meaning and purpose to what it is that we're talking about.
When we talk about doing stuff like this, we have to be intentional. We have to give ourselves the ability to think outside of the box, to explore new opportunities, to do things, to show our appreciation, our gratitude, and our love for our spouses. One of the fact of the matter is they are not looking for it, they're not expecting it. So that's even more of a surprise when we're able to do that. Go outside of our way to let them know that we love them. When you talk about the fact that they're in a deficit, we need to overcompensate, to your point, to make sure that they get what they need, because we want the cup to fill up and run over, with our appreciation, with our love, with our words of affirmation for our spouses. It's never too much. It's never too much.
Never too much, never too much. And I tell you, your spouse will appreciate it. Even if at the time they don't say anything, they don't acknowledge it, trust and believe it's hitting them. When you're in a bad place, a dark place, people tend not to necessarily acknowledge the good, but they certainly will bring up all the bad, right? And so it becomes discouraging, because you're just like, man, do you ever pay attention to any of the good I do? How come every time you come to me, it's always about something bad? Because that's just, unfortunately, the human condition in the state that we're in. But don't allow their reaction or their non-response to determine your commitment to this process, because when you're sowing seeds in the ground, you don't reap a harvest the next day. There is the law of germination, the law of growth. Things happen over a period of time. When you plant those seeds in the ground, you don't know what's happening underneath that soil. You just believe that something is going to happen and a harvest will come. And there will be a harvest for the investment that you've made by your commitment in doing the right thing. And you may not always know when harvest time comes, but guess what, folks? It comes. It may not come when you want to, but it's always right on time.
Listen, the old folks used to say, a watch pot never boils. A watch pot never boils.
Wow.
If you just stand over it and looking at it and, expecting it to happen, you have to plant that seed, do your work, be consistent with your work, and it will produce a harvest. You will see the fruit of your labor if you be consistent, be determined, and be willing, right, to do things that you haven't done to get results that is beyond your imagination.
Absolutely. 1,000%. Let's go to the next one. This is getting good. Number two, you want to pamper your partner one evening. One evening, not implying that should only happen one time, but choose an evening to do it, or possibly a day to do it, depending upon work schedules. This is where, think about it. When you're dating, when you're connecting, when you're passionate about each other, don't you love enjoying things together? Don't you love getting massages and manicures and pedicures, and hey, we're going to go to the beach, or we're going to go to the spa, and we're just going to enjoy each other, and just taking the time to do that for each other, feeding each other grapes and all of these wonderful things. It does something to a person's heart, right? It helps one to believe, man, I am loved, I am cared for. You do think about me, you do think I'm special, you would not do this if you didn't mean this. And so sometimes these expressions, these demonstrations of love really, really resonate and make a difference in the lives of your spouses.
And again, it gives you the opportunity to learn your spouse. A lot of times we want to do things that's non-effective for our spouse. You have to know what moves them, what their love language is. And when we're pampering, when we're doing things of such, make sure that it's something that both of you all can enjoy, but you have to be willing to do it. Tap into that intimacy of one another,
Yeah.
being able to pamper one another, being able to be intentional. Again, here that word is, be intentional on what you're doing to get the best results.
Absolutely. Let's go to number three. Plan a date, arrange for babysitters, clear your calendar, etc. I can't tell you how many times I've heard couples give the excuse that they're busy, that they have nobody to watch the kids. There's always some reason why they can't do what they should do, but always have found a reason to squeeze in enough time, to squeeze in enough opportunity to connect with the wrong one in an affair relationship. And so this is and I want to pause here, because this is one of the biggest complaints that I hear from betrayed spouses. I often hear, "Oh, so you had time for her? You made time for that? Oh, you had all the energy and motivation for that. But when it comes to us, you're not motivated. You're not encouraged. You have an attitude. You feel like I'm bothering you. Like I don't see the same effort or I don't know, energy that you're directing towards this that you had for that." And it's a valid point. There's got to be consistency in this space. There's got to be time where you break away from the normal everyday routines of daily living, and you begin to celebrate your love and your connection by dating your spouse again. Yes, you've been married for 10, 20 years. You know everything about your spouse. You know what they're going to say before they say it. So you think, you figure, I know this person. But there's always opportunities to discover another side, to experience something new and different with your spouse. Because new and different is what drove so many people to the affair in the first place. But the new and different that they're looking for can be found within the realm of the relationships if you begin to break up the pattern, create a new one, and experience life anew.
That is absolutely so true. And I heard you say once before, we don't have to take our spouses out or our wives. Let's take our woman out. I'm going to take my woman out on a date, right? She's going to walk different. She's going to look different. She's going to feel different. And that gives her an opportunity to break away from the hustle and bustle of everyday life, the hustle and bustle and from day-to-day chores and work and different things like that. We have to be creative in how we approach things. Hey, I want you to be ready at 8 o'clock. I'm going to pick you up, right? I'm going to ring the doorbell. Let me do it a little different. I'm going to ring the doorbell and wait for you to come out. I'm going to have flowers ready for you. I'm going to open the door. Let's go back to the basics, right? Let's go back to how things used to be to create a new memory, right?
Yes.
Sometimes we have to go back to the basics to get the things that we want today, right? Don't be afraid to step outside of the box to do it a different way.
When you do these things, things begin to change in your life and in your relationship. Guys, we're talking about how to have an affair with, not on, but with your spouse. It's time to bring the passion back in, the love back in, the intentionality back in, the connection back in. You've been missing it for quite some time. You've gotten in your own way. You've resisted what your spouse has attempted to do. Listen. Just drop the rope. No need for the tug of war. Just drop the rope and release all of the hurt, the pain, the bitterness, the resentment. Release the past, because there's nothing you can do to change it. The only thing you can do is change your relationship with it. Listen, guys, we'll be right back. Stay tuned for this quick video. Last Chance Weekend coming up.
Hi, my name is Lacey. I'm from New Jersey, and this Last Chance Weekend with Couples Academy has been life-changing for me. It has made me think deeper than I've ever had to think about myself and how I show up in my marriage and in my relationship with myself and as a partner to my husband. When I found Couples Academy, which was only a week ago, I had some feeling that this was something that I needed to do, and I was scared, I was nervous, I didn't know what to expect, but I took the leap of faith with my husband to come to this amazing experience, and it has changed us. I can honestly say that we will never be the same couple. The days are hard, they're long, and I've learned more about how to be the person I want to be than I ever thought I would. I thought this was a last chance to see if my marriage was going to work out, and it ended up not being that at all. It ended up being a chance for me to discover myself and discover who I want to be, and in that, becoming the person I want to be with my husband, and how much I actually want to grow with him and live my life with him. And for that, I'm so grateful.
Yeah, man. Last Chance Weekend, powerful testimonial. I love hearing how people say, listen, not only did I get something from my relationship, but I got something for me, because I have a relationship with myself that I need to get together. And she was able to experience a tremendous amount of transformation. They're doing phenomenal today.
Yeah, so oftentimes we want to fix our spouses. We want to take them somewhere so they can get fixed. And a lot of times it's us that need to be fixed. If you want a new marriage, if you want a new relationship, it has to start with you first. And that's going to be the best policy that you can live by to have the best marriage that you want to have.
Absolutely. Listen, let's say good morning to the community. To Ben Scott, I see your brother. Thank you for your commitment. Come on now, Gonzalez. You family, bro. You one of the practitioners. We love your commitment of always being on the show, you and your beautiful wife. Then we got Charles and George Redeemed, my brother, all the way from Jamaica, St. Kitts, and just all over the Caribbean. But George, George and his wife and his organization, they do an incredible international marriage conference that we've attended for years. He's making tremendous impact in the islands. We need more representation. We need more transformation there. So good to see you, brother. We need to connect. Daryl Garner, good morning, my brother. Glad you're here. Renita Banks, Jackie, Tammy, George Wells, Denise, always good to see you. Teray. The list goes on and on. Listen, we appreciate the fact that you tune in, even those who watch the recap, right? Those who are watching it, not live, but are part of the community. We want to acknowledge you for your commitment as well. All right, guys, we're talking about how to have an affair with your spouse. But my question is, listen, we've given you a bunch of techniques. What have you done so far? What have you implemented? Have you implemented one in the last 2 days that would really make a difference? I think what's happening, Roland, is a lot of times people are consuming information, right? It's information, but they're forgetting application, right? And I think you need both to experience, transformation. I'm a poet and didn't know it. Information and application leads to transformation. And then what happens is you can begin to experience manifestation in your relationship.
And the illumination of everything that you just said comes to light when we put things in action. There's a great book, 10,000 Ways to Say I Love You by Gregory J.P. Godick. And so we have to be willing to find ways to step outside of the box, to apply the things that we hear. It's nothing. I mean, having a wealth of knowledge and do nothing with it is wasted talent. You know, we want to be able to use the things that we gain and be able to implement those things. And I know you're saying, well, it may not work. Well, it didn't work the last time. It wasn't received well. I was rejected. Do it anyway. Nothing beats consistency, but you not doing it. You know what I'm saying? Just do it anyway and see what the end result is going to be.
To know and not do is to not know. And so to your point, what's the point of just having all this information if you're not implementing it? And so a lot of times you learn what will work and what won't work by actually doing. So get out of your head and get up off your feet. Put one foot in front of the other and begin to implement. And I promise you'll experience change and transformation in your life. All right, let's go to the next. This is a good one, Roland. Surprise your spouse by taking them someplace they have said they wanted to go. Now, I remember being in a mall and just, hey, let's go to the mall. And you know what? That's a danger zone because as a man, when I go to the mall, I just want to window shop. I just want to walk in the, aisles or the hallways. I don't necessarily have to go in any of the stores. And I realized, wait a minute, did I just ask my wife to go to the mall? I already know what that means. I know it's going to set me back. And so, as we're walking through this store, she will try things on and go to the next door, or she may see something and say, oh my God, that is gorgeous. And then I'm taking a mental note, like I heard it, right? And so we go on, and then I come back and I get it, and then I surprise her with it, right? Likewise, if she mentions that she always wanted to do something or always wanted to go somewhere, and it was just part of a conversation and we just move on, I will then take her there and she's just like, oh my God. And so that is being intentional, taking the time to really hear and listen. Because a lot of times we're having conversations with our spouse and we say all types of things and then we go off to the next. But you actually listening and then executing it, I can't tell you how far that will go in winning your spouse's heart back.
Listen, the joy you feel for being able to do it for your spouse is overwhelming at times, simply because you're able to see the joy and happiness on their faces. You were paying attention, you was listening, you were being intentional based on a conversation that you were having. I know they're just thinking, oh, he's not paying attention to what I'm saying, she's not paying attention to what I'm saying. But when you show up with the very thing that you all talked about and they weren't expecting it, it wasn't their birthday, it wasn't Christmas, it wasn't a special occasion, it was a just because, then it makes so much, the intimacy draws you so much closer together, because that lets me know that I matter, that I care, that you heard me and you was listening. So it has a huge effect on both of you. You both benefit from it.
Absolutely, guys. Let's go to the next one. Create a romantic dinner at home or out somewhere. Now, listen, Everybody knows, if anybody has watched the show ever, if any of you have heard Danielle's little side comments, you all know I can't cook. All right. All right. It's out. Been there. So we're talking about creating a romantic dinner. So if you can cook, go in. You know what I'm saying? Do it up. I know I can't. Right. So I remember years ago when we used to live in New Jersey. This is, I mean, we're going back years. Like when we were married, maybe 4 years in, 5 years in. I used to work at a restaurant, and it was one of our favorite restaurants today. I used to serve at like a bunch of restaurants, and the Capitol Grill, and ooh, their steak and their sides and everything. So what I decided to do is I hired the chef to come to the house and cook a meal in our dining room. So here I have the chef cooking it up. You know, I set the dining room up, you know, rather than going out to a restaurant, to a romantic environment, I created that within our own home. And it's one of those memories that, you know, is still in our top 8 special moments that we've had in our lives together. You can go to a restaurant anywhere, but one restaurant becomes another restaurant. And oh, yeah, I remember that years ago. I think, I'm not sure. But to do something like that, a romantic expression in your home, would be powerful. And I tell you, it leaves an indelible impact.
Listen, so I recently learned how to turn a stove on, and
We're in the same boat.
yes, we are. But however, I did learn. I took a leap of faith and have been able to step out of my comfort zone and been able to dish up a couple things. Right, I'm able to move around a little bit, and but to create that atmosphere in your own space. A place of safety, right? Dim the lights and set the table and put the effort in. It goes a long way, you know. But tonight, I want you to take tonight off. I got you. I'm going to take care of you, you know. And even with that, if you don't know how to cook, to your point, find a way to get the meal that you want to have, to get the meal that she likes. But the whole point is you creating that space of intentionality, of romance, of bringing life back to your space and being able to do it in a way that works for you. You just got to find that way that works.
I just want to let you know that Charles had a comment for you, not me. He says, there's YouTube if you need instructions on how to cook a meal and still take credit for trying it yourself. So I want to give you, I think he was talking specifically to you. He wasn't talking to me. So go ahead and watch a couple videos and make that happen. I love what Gonzalez said. He said, my wife surprised me with a fishing trip vacation with my dad. A issue that needed closure for almost 40 years. This made my heart leap for joy. See, those are the things, right? How intentional, not just the fishing trip, but I'm going to coordinate it where you're going to connect with your dad and you're going to, it's so funny because I was talking to Danielle about fishing the other day, and, you know, I hate fishing. I think it's one of the most boring, I don't know, maybe as an Enneagram 3, like I need to be doing something. And I'm just like, we're just sitting here in this still water waiting for a fish. Now, deep sea fishing, more exciting, I'll do that. But I get why the fishing trip would be powerful, to connect with somebody who you've had a struggle with, because there's nothing distracting you, because it's nothing to do but connect and talk. And how powerful of an experience that must have been, and how awesome of a wife to even think, let's create this scenario for my husband. Awesome. Then he also says, making dinner in your home is so romantic. I've done it on the patio and did a sunset dinner. See, guys, so many ideas and opportunities of what you can do. So I'm hoping that this is helping in sinking in. I want to give you one more that I think could be powerful. Listen, take a bath together. Right, with bath oils and bubbles and candles. Rose petals can be a nice touch, you know, in the bathroom or on the bed. You gotta get back to being romantic. See, and I don't want this to be a triggering situation, but if you've been in an affair, most likely there was some type of romantic element. But let's just talk about the beginning of your relationship. At the beginning of your relationship with your spouse, that's when Romeo or Juliet was in full force. You were romantic. You had all of these wonderful gestures. And then once you put a ring on it, right? Then all of a sudden it shriveled up and went away. And so now you struggle to come up with a romantic idea. And so I think that's one of the main elements and ingredients that's missing from long-term relationships that can really begin to turn things around. You bring the romance back in, it will feel like an affair you're having with your spouse.
I can't say nothing past that. You said it all. Again, we cannot take each other lightly or for granted. We cannot be selfish with the amount of time that we've been together. We have to learn to create new memories every single day. And if we're doing it with the one that we love, they're going to be lasting memories. They're going to be romantic memories, and they're going to be memories that we can share with our children and our children's children because we've done the work and we put the time in and made the effort to make it work.
Guys, you're watching the Couples Academy show. I hope you enjoyed this 3-part series. If you're just tuning in, start from the beginning. Go to part 1, then part 2, then part 3. You can find it on the Couples Academy YouTube page. Simply go to YouTube and type in Couples Academy. If you are not subscribed, subscribe to it, because we have a daily show and over 700 videos to feed your soul and to give tools for your marriage that will turn things around. Love you guys. See you in the morning for Ask the Experts. Take care.